What's up guys, this is Boondocks, and today I want to talk about a build for Nehza. Now this is a melee build that follows more of a jack-of-all-trades type modding setup, but in all honesty I find it a lot of fun as it's able to control enemies while doing damage instead of just having to spam your fourth ability. So for starters, how does this really control the enemies? Well, that's through the ability of lighting them on fire, similar to using, say, a melee ember. And the first way of doing it is using Firewalk. Now, Firewalk is kind of interesting. You're going to leave behind a trail of fire wherever you run, and it's going to make you run faster. Now, the interesting thing about this is it says it does 330 damage per second, but it actually ticks every half second. So really, you can cut that damage per second in half for each tick. Additionally, each tick has its own 50% chance at lighting an enemy on fire. So 50% every half second means 75% chance after 1 second, and that goes up to a 93% chance after 2 seconds. So probability says that within 2 seconds an enemy should be lit on fire as long as they're standing on your fire trail. I mean, they still have a 7% chance not to, but yeah. This is also going to last for 10.8 seconds with only 108 duration, and it's a base of 10. So even without having any real duration at all, it's still going to last for a decent amount of time. Obviously, though, you do want to use a decent amount of efficiency because this thing's going to drain your energy real quick. Finally, as far as the explosive damage is concerned, while it does look considerable, it's going to turn off your Firewalk, and the way that you activate it is while having Firewalker on, you throw out a Blazing Chakram, and then teleport to the Blazing Chakram, and you're going to do that explosive damage around you. So that's definitely an interesting thing that you can do, and it's a cool little combo setup. Then we have Warding Halo. It says create a protective fiery ring that also stuns and damages enemies who get too close. Now this fiery ring kind of acts like Rhino's Iron Skin, where when you cast it, you're going to have a 3-second window of invulnerability, and any damage you take within that time is going to be added on to your total armor health. Now, the thing that you do need to know is that this has a 1.5 second activation time, and within that time, it's pretty easy to get killed. Now, this damage absorption will get increased from your power strength mods as well as any armor mods, and in all honesty, Nehza does have a decent amount of armor at 175, though obviously that's not tank status. He does suffer pretty badly when it comes to the other stats, such as health and shields, so you might want to go with the steel fiber instead of the vitality, which I currently have on. As far as what this thing actually does for damage, when it says the damage per second of 206, that's not fire damage, that's actually slash. So you can apply slash damage to enemies in addition to the fire damage, plus whatever other weapons you currently are using. And it kind of has a impact type stagger effect whenever enemies get too close to you. Now you can increase this range, but since it only starts at 2 meters, that means in order to even boost it to just 4 meters, you're going to have to increase your range to 200%. So the max you could really get would be 5 meters away at 250 range, and I kind of just ignore range in all honesty. Finally, you do have the Divine Spears that you can summon. I mostly just use this as a oh shit type button when you're getting surrounded, or if you notice that your Warding Halo is at like 15 or 20%, you can quickly activate that, run, and be able to use your Halo again for more survivability. So how do I have them modded? Not perfectly. Let me get that out of the way first. If I wanted to do this perfectly, I would drop off this adapter slot, move my power drift up, and then maybe put in an intensify to get a little bit more damage out of the situation, something like that. But currently, this isn't available, so oh well. Unfortunately, I do have to use a steel charge mod because I'm going to be primarily melee damage, and that means I'm going to have the only 7 increase as opposed to the 14 if it was already a V slot, or since it starts as a dash, you could always use your corrosive projection or energy siphon and sacrifice that extra physical or melee damage. But I just tossed on 2 Forma, and that more than covered for the current build I'm running. With that being said, in order to get some damage, I'm just going to use Transient Fortitude along with Power Drift. And all in all, I honestly feel like this is more than enough power in general, since I'm primarily using my abilities while trying to get a little extra damage on top of everything else I'm doing, it's mostly there to control the enemies. In order to keep my Firewalker on as long as possible, I'm going to be using Fleeting Expertise, along with a Streamline for power efficiency, and then a Prime Flow to increase my total power as much as possible. In order to make up for the Fleeting Expertise, I am going to be using a Prime Continuity along with the Constitution. Now, you could, in all honesty, get away without using the Fleeting Expertise as long as you have the Prime Flow, because Nehza does have a pretty large energy pool, so you could fill it up really quick, run around for a considerable amount of time with Firewalker, and then drop it off again. The final thing, like I kind of hinted at before, since he does have a decent amount of armor, and the fact that his warding halo scales off of armor, you could definitely toss on a steel fiber instead of a vitality. But the reason I'm currently using the vitality is if I'm going to activate my Naramon and be invisible, there's still a chance that every so often I'll take a little bit of extra damage when my halo's not up, which I could then just health gate back up using Life Strike. Of course, as far as my melee weapon's concerned, I'm using the Destreza because it rhymes with Nehza, and I'm using the Body Count and Blood Rush combo. That typically means that you don't get to use elemental mods. Of course, you could drop off the Life Strike and the Auger Strike to get your elemental combo if you wanted, but this does kind of force you into using your Organ Shatter, Pressure Point, and True Steel, along with the Body Count and Blood Rush, in order to make getting those crits worthwhile. Of course, if you're not going to be going up against Corrupted, and instead going up against Infested, which this build absolutely wrecks, then I would definitely try using something like the Nakana Prime to get a little bit of extra slash damage, since you're not going to need the Puncture. I'm really quickly going to show the Corrupted, and while you can kill them at 135, because I want to switch over and show some Infested after, we're going to drop it down to just 100 really fast, so that way I can get out there and kind of fuck them up. So right away, I'm going to activate my Firewalker, hop down here, get some of them aggroed on me, activate my Warding Halo so that way I get a little extra health from it, and then just kind of proceed around killing everybody. And as you can see, it definitely kills pretty quick. And there they go. Anybody that comes near my fire trail is just going to get, well, lit up. For some reason, my Firewalker turned off. Oh, I know why. It's because I accidentally used up on my mouse wheel, which is my #1 ability. So you just kind of run around them, and you can sort of see, let me turn it off, and I can show the stagger. See how he gets staggered whenever I run into him? So the whole thing about Nehza, as far as melee is concerned, it's a lot more of like quick strikes to keep spreading your fire, as well as staggering the enemies. And I find it's a pretty interesting way of playing. And because of that, I would definitely recommend using Nehza if you're looking for something slightly new to use. As a quick side note, let's activate Naramon, so that way I can show just how ridiculous Naramon actually becomes, though chances are, if you've played with any Naramon characters before, you'll already know. So let's hop down here, activate Firewalk, and then just start going to town against the enemies. The Destreza does have pretty decent crit chance, which is why almost instantly I got the crits off on him and proceeded to start killing pretty quickly. And when you're in this mode, it makes it really fucking easy, because now not only are the enemies getting lit on fire, getting staggered, but they're also unable to see you, so even from range, they're going to have issues killing your happy ass. Yeah, you generally can fuck them up pretty quick. So real fast, let's just kind of show against some Infested, because I did go and farm some of them up purely for this. You know, scanning them, that is. So let's just spawn about 20 level 100 Chargers, just to, I guess, have a little bit of fun with them. And then we're going to hop down here and just quickly run around with my fire active. And watch them just burn. I mean, as you can see, this isn't doing ridiculous damage, but it's very nice when it comes to just controlling the enemies. And eventually it will kill them. That's for damn sure. As Infested try to chase you down, as long as you have your Firewalker active, they're never going to be able to get to you and slowly just die. It's really powerful and kind of fun, and it plays into this whole like hit and run playstyle like I was talking about before. I really find Nehza a lot of fun to use as melee, and I didn't even switch over to my Nakana Prime for the slash. But as you can see, Nehza is very interesting when it comes to playing him as melee build, and I definitely say check him out, even more so if you have Naramon. Until next time, guys, like, comment, and subscribe, and peace.